Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Big John here. Just let me sort my screen out. Looks about all right. Evening, Mark Williams. Mark, are you not with For Britain, or was you with For Britain? Yes, Amanda. So it's yes, Prime Minister. That's what it is today. It's yes, Prime Minister. Now, I'm not supporting any Prime Minister or anything, but what I am concerned about is loyalty to the United Kingdom. That's what I'm concerned about with our next PM, is loyalty to the United Kingdom. So straight away, Rishi Sunak is out of it. He's out of it. What do we know about Rishi Sunak? Born here, parents are not ethnically English in any way. I'm not making a big issue about that, but what I'm making an issue of is he's a multimillionaire, his wife is rich, he could easily be influenced by money. He's even trying to get in America with a green card. So what kind of loyalty is that? If I ever become Prime Minister, I won't be running off to another country after I've done a stint in government. I won't. I'll show loyalty and stay in my country. But if we get in power, you only have to be able to you have to pick one passport. So you're either British or American or British or Pakistani, whatever, just one. And that's it. And I don't see any loyalty in Rishi. Also, it's been said, he's said that he hasn't got any working class friends. So how can I expect him to understand what we are going through in our times now? How can I expect him to understand about Oldham? How can I expect him to understand about Telford? How can I expect him to understand what's going on in working class towns such as Rotherham? What's going on in Yorkshire? What's going on in Cumbria? How can we expect somebody who's so out of touch with the working class to be able to run our country? Yes, Solomon Angel. Michael, good evening, everyone. Space Hopper Mark, Big Johnny, your NHPUK TV on a Thursday. There is some videos out, but I did my first speech in London on Monday evening. A full hall of guests. Since then, though, we've got things rolling on a website development and stuff like that. So we'll be able to join members. But obviously, I know For Britain, Anne-Marie Waters shut For Britain down. But if you're still a candidate and you want to run in local elections, then I think NHP UK would do well. You'd do well in the NHP UK. I know a lot of people in and out of For Britain. I don't exactly agree with all For Britain did, but there's a lot of patriots there. So get in contact. Where's our emails? There's our emails. Get in contact with us. We want to gear up for next year. It's looking like we've got another up-and-coming candidate in Blackpool, which will be Brian Parsonage. More or less, that's guaranteed. So, and he could have a busy election because they've had ward changes in Blackpool. So if they have a full election, then he's got a really good chance next year of getting in or getting a seat. Lovely place, Blackpool, very patriotic. They love the Union flag, so do I, and do well. So anyway, yes, Prime Minister, we say. Yes, Prime Minister. Definitely not Rishi Sunak. Definitely not him. He's no loyalty to the UK. He's trying to get in America and get a green card. So if he had any loyalty to the UK, why would he be doing that? He's not bothered. It's just a stepping stone in his fame and his portfolio of being a man of power and things like that. I don't like it that he's so linked to foreign money. His missus's dad's one of the richest guys in India, or something like that. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I said this. I said this a while back, me. Before Johnson resigned, I said it live. I said I don't like it because it could be easily influenced by money from abroad. Not having it. That's not no prime minister of mine. Let's get on to the next one. I think I'm going through 5, but I think we're on 4 at the moment. Penny Mordaunt. Now, she seems all right, Penny Mordaunt. They're all going on about the Conservatives got to keep right, but I watched GB News last night, and they had Sharon Davis on. Penny Mordaunt over the past few weeks has sort of like supported trans and then like come away from supporting trans. She doesn't know where she is, and that just tells me. That just tells me. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I don't want him as prime minister. There's no loyalty. I don't see any loyalty in the guy. I don't know about other people. What do other people think? That he's loyal? Do you think he'd be loyal because he's got so much money behind him in other countries? Do you think he can be easily influenced? Remember, this is a guy who said he doesn't have any working class friends. This is a guy who can't pay for fuel at a pay machine by a card. This is a guy who's got an American green card or is trying to get an American green card. There's no loyalty there. I don't want him to be prime minister. And I think the prime minister of England should show their spirit and have just one passport. I know Boris was born in America, and I know he had an American passport, but his parents were British. But I know that, and I'm no fan of Boris anyway. Never have been, never supported him or anything like that throughout all his tenure. And I've said the same thing, that I didn't want him as prime minister, but Richie Sunak, definitely not. So yeah, Penny Mordaunt. She looks okay. I used to love Sharon Davis as well when I was back in the day. But let's just see what. And what they're saying about Penny is that on GB News is that she's a hopeful, but has she got enough experience? And they're saying yeah. Some of them were saying yeah. Penny Mordaunt, and she certainly might be in the Conservatives, the right side of the Conservatives. But remember, the Conservatives and Labour at the moment are just the two sides of the same coin. And there is no good and bad. They're both bad. That's this. But I'm just going through who's running. That's all, and telling you my thoughts on loyalty and stuff like that to the United Kingdom. Former daughter of a former paratrooper. My father served in the parachute regiment. you know, parliamentary career, 2003, selected a Conservative candidate to contest Portsmouth North. So 2003 to now, that's 20 years. That's decent enough. I didn't like the thing last night where she sort of like, she'd been supporting trans, then all of a sudden she weren't. I didn't like that because what that shows me is that she's just using these things to increase, to get her into Parliament. I don't support trans and I never will support it. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have rights, right? They should be treated just like any other person. They shouldn't get any special treatment or anything. There shouldn't be none of this wokeness where you get shut down for saying that, like, maybe you're not trans or you don't agree with it. If we're in a debate and I said that, then they try and shut me down. But, you know, I don't want to throw any harm or hate towards them. It's just that I don't believe that a man can be a woman or vice versa. I don't believe that trans women should be in women's spaces. I don't believe anything like that. But, you know, I think she looks certainly pretty good for running. GB News seem to think that. But again, they're all the same side of the same coin. Both different sides of the same coin. Liz Truss. Let's have a quick look at Liz Truss. I'm not looking at the comments at the moment, guys. I'll just reduce my screen a bit and I'll get them up. Oh, well, Solomon Angel, we want to move up Scotland. We want candidates in Scotland. Good evening, Peter Smith. Car park campers. I do not consent. They're all in it together. They certainly are, bro. They certainly are. Well, good evening, Linda, Monty, Pauline. Yeah, so, you know, it's loyalty. I haven't seen any. I've just in a fight to get in a position of Conservative leader. Again, I'm not particularly, to tell you the truth, I've discussed this a little bit with Patrick, and he says that whoever it is, no matter what colour race you are, if they support all the things in our party, he'll have them as Prime Minister. So that's end immigration, against war, build houses, against cancel culture, not to support Marxist organisations like Black Lives Matter, all the things, save our history and things like that can be Prime Minister. But I'm not thinking that, mate. I'm not thinking that because in the real world, there's a lot of countries that wouldn't have a Prime Minister of a different race or even half. There's a lot of countries in the world that are like that. But obviously the UK, we have to show everyone that you can be African born and be a Prime Minister in England. But in other countries, it's not like that. Not saying every country. There's a lot of countries where it isn't like that. So why do we have to be like that? And when white people say, well, we want a white country, but then they get shouted down as this white supremacists and that. But it's all right for everyone else to have their own country, you know, and identify with that. And we have a lot of that here. We, the people of Britain, can't identify as British. British is looked down and frowned upon, even if whether you're not white, and even people of colour like me, my views are frowned upon, and I'm a British citizen. And you know, I love my country. It's where I was born and raised, brought up. I've worked. My family's here. I've got a big big family here. So, you know, I'm proud of my country, but, you know, we're not allowed to be. You're not allowed to be in Britain. You just have to accept everyone else, even though there's countries around the world that aren't like that. Just saying, I'm not naming them, but there's plenty of countries around the world where you just wouldn't get away with the kind of things you would. There's countries in the world where MPs like Claudia Webb, who threatened to acid attack somebody, would not get away with that in these countries. But in England, she gets away with it because everyone's politically correctly scared and afraid to upset minorities. It was the Oldham Council meeting last night, and Big John shouted at top of my voice. It would have, you can hear it on the video that the council did, even though they tried to lower the noise. You could clearly hear me saying, political correctness, afraid of upsetting minority communities. That's what I've said. And you know, I do believe that. That's one thing I've said throughout all my time as an activist and stuff like that. So who else have we got now? We've got Liz Truss. So, you know, I don't know anything about this Liz Truss in detail. I haven't seen anything about it. I've heard of her. She's been around a bit. Foreign Secretary, Minister for Women and Equalities. Ooh, that sounds a bit dodgy. Now, you know, I don't know if she's got a different passport. I don't know if Penny Mordaunt's got a different passport. But Richie Sunak has got at least 2 passports and he's trying to get an American one. So he's well out of it. I don't care what his qualifications. That's no loyalty to the UK for me. It isn't. It's no loyalty. She's been around. She's been around. I can't say much on it. It's not someone who springs to my mind all the time. All right, let's look at Kemi Badenoch. I think that's her name is Kemi Olafunto Badenoch. Is a British politician who, oh my God, I don't want anyone prime minister with a name like that neither. But no, she was born in England. Parents of Nigerian origin. She spent part in her childhood was spent part in Lagos, Nigeria, and the United States. So she's got multiple passports. She returned to the United Kingdom at the age of 16. So she hadn't even lived here all her life. It sounds like she travelled that much. It sounds like a family might have money. So how can we say that she's in touch with us? No, I don't like her. She's got more than 1 passport. I told you this passport thing's big with me. There's no loyalty. If you've got an American passport, there's no loyalty to the UK. Like Richie Sunak's trying to get in there. So already I don't like her because she's got more than 1 passport, certainly. And she spent a lot of the time as a childhood wasn't even spent here. You know what I mean? How can she relate to us? How can she relate to working class people? You know what I mean? She might be working classish herself, but it sounds like the family's got a bit of money. Of course, to get in the Conservative Party, they like money, don't they? She came to live with a friend of her mother's owing to the deterioration of political and economic situation in Nigeria, which had affected her family. No, I don't like her. She's got at least two passports, and I want some loyalty. I want a conservative. If any conservative threw in said, "Look, I'll give up my passport, British only," that's who I am. I'd support them, but none of them are doing that. None of them are doing it. I just thought I'd spend a bit of time chatting and going through what I think and feel about the next Prime Minister. I've showed you common sense things there. Richie Sunak can't even fill a car up with a cash card. The guy's got no working class friends. I don't doubt most of these haven't got any kind of working class friends. So I don't want them. I don't want them. I'm not happy with any of them, any of the candidates, really. I'm not. None of them show anything to me or anything. Penny Morden and Sunak are from the left. Well, they're all rubbish anyway. They're all rubbish. So let's go a bit more on Oldham Council meeting last night. The question was never read out, but I managed to shout a few choice comments. Got LGBT month day next month in Oldham, so I'm going to attend. If it's during the day time or at weekend, I'm going to get my mum and we're going to go out. I know that I know the local bar where they always start off, which is a bar that I've regularly drunk in anyway. So I'm gonna go have a pint and see who turns up for LGBT day in Oldham. I did shout out last night when they mentioned LGBT. I did shout out that it's not really safe for LGBT people in Oldham, and it isn't. It isn't. There's been several, more than a dozen in just the past couple of years of LGBT attacks in and around the tram system in Greater Manchester. There's been several just on the Oldham line between Manchester and Rochdale. I think one of the more serious ones was Rochdale, where the guy was knocked unconscious for a few days, beaten black and blue, and he was LGBT. And the people who did it were brown or Asians, as it said in the newspaper report. There's also been a couple of attacks in Oldham by Asians in the report. Now, funny thing was, when I said that last night, a woman who was sat beside of me turned round. I've been attacked. My house has been attacked 13 times, she said. Now, she didn't say whether she was LGBT, but I'm presuming she was in that category, right? And what she said to me last night in just a few seconds was that nobody's helping her, and her house has been attacked 13 times. I asked her where she lived. She told me, and you know, I've got a good idea. I don't know who she were or anything, but she was there last night at the meeting. So it weren't just people weren't just there because of the grooming gangs. They were there for other reasons, and that was one of the reasons. So it quite shocked me that last night when she said that. But again, I've done videos on a lot of these attacks that we've had on the tram system on LGBT people. Now, I don't hold no menace against any. I can tell you that I was we was talking to a lot of LGBT lads in Leeds the other week, me and Arlene, and we had part of an evening with these guys, right? Never threw any hate at them, not like that, me. You know, I don't promote that, but there is a lot of other people in the UK who promote that kind of thing onto LGBT people, and let me just tell you that the majority of them are not white, right? Are not white. Many of you will know, and they do throw that kind of hate. But obviously, if someone white has an issue with LGBT and it does come to public, then they'll be cancelled and castrated and convicted of something. But there is many people, and there's nothing said in mainstream media, and they won't say it. And the question someone brought up to the council was a read out question was, will the council be supporting LGBT month or that? And then Amanda Chatterton, who's a new council leader, is LGBT herself. I don't know. I don't think she is a person who identifies as she might be lesbian. I don't know. No, but she is LGBT. She said it herself, right? But no, I never went into question her. But and she did a speech, and that's when I shouted, "Oh well, it's not safe for you in time. Make sure you get a taxi home or something like that." But it was a riotous meeting for nearly 4 hours. There was arguing, loads of shouting over. I don't think it's the right way to go with the meeting at Oldham at the moment now, council meetings. What we could do with is smaller public council. Like I said, 3 people to speak for the public. And this can be done. I know it can be done. And then they can liaise with councillors on the council bench, 3 councillors on the council bench or whatever. Because with this rape gang thing going on, there's councillors who are supporting that we want an investigation. Robert Barnes was one of them, Conservative. He did another firestorming, attacking speech last night. It's on the go, is Mr. Barnes. But yeah, there is on the council people who support it. And last night they was saying yes or no to supporting their motion to that's it. They're not going to do another investigation. There's a couple of Muslims who was against it on the council. So just goes to show you the precariousness of Labour's control in that council. And I'm positively sure next year they're going to drop to under 30 councillors, and then they'll lose the major control of the council, which will just be the start of making things change around in Oldham. And other people have done well. The Fields with Independents have done really well. Proudham, Oldham and Saddleworth are still going, and there's a good chance that maybe 1 or 2 of those are going to be councillors next year as well. And I'm still hopeful for myself as well, if not next year, within the next couple of years. So yes, Prime Minister. Not happy with any of them. I want to see some loyalty to the United Kingdom. I don't really think that the United Kingdom should have a non-ethnically English Prime Minister, to tell you the truth. I'll accept 50%, maybe, like me, but I don't think we should have Richie Sunak, whose parents are not English, who are mega rich, have no loyalty to the UK, be Prime Minister, and neither that Femi girl either. She spent 16 years not here. She never grew up as a child. Did she grow up on a working class street like us? That probably not. What would she say about the rape gangs? What would any of them say about the rape gangs? If any of them would support a petition to have another new investigations and people on accountability to do with the rape gangs, police, councillors, social services, convicted and sent to jail, then they'd get my vote. But I don't think any of them would. I think what they first said to you is that you're a racist. I think that's what the first thing they'd said to you. Or they wouldn't say anything because they'd get cancelled. That's what I think of everybody who's gone in for the Conservative leadership. So the Tories are an absolute meltdown. People are saying that Labour aren't strong enough to come in and get this over and done with. And since the pandemic, and I've said this, I'll quote me on this, since the pandemic, all it is has been fighting against each other, not trying to sort our country out. All they've been doing is fighting against each other. When some scandal comes up, all the other group are on it. When some scandal comes up, that's not my government, man. That's not how I want my government to work. Now, if my government were going to work like that, then I'd be making severe changes, man. I would be sacking people. I'd be sacking them. If my government was going to work like that, I'd be sacking them. If the Labour was going to start attacking and all that, I'd shut them down. I would shut them down as Prime Minister. I would shut Labour down. I would break that group up if they carry on with the woke nonsense and just bickering. because the Labour and the others are Tories. Our Houses of Parliament is just like a little kids' junior school with the naughty kids in it. That's all it is, and they're not doing anything. That's what I think of my parliament, our British elite. You know what I mean? MBEs up their asses all over the place. You know, you get MBEs for helping refugees. What about an MBE for helping the UK? Is there no such thing as that? Like MBEs and OBEs shouldn't be given to people to do with things that are to do with other countries. It shouldn't be. And Raja Mir is an MBE to do with refugees, which is nothing to do with England. We're getting involved in everything abroad. You know, there's people protesting wars in other countries, nothing to do with us, and they're protesting here. What's going on in our country? There's no like Great Britain. You know what I mean? And I just wouldn't have it, me. Well, anyway, this is Big John, NHPUK TV, Thursday live. I'm on Sunday, but I'm going to be late. I'm going to be in the evening Sunday because it's Pokemon Community Day. And I've got a couple of guests coming down to Pokemon with me, and I'm taking my mum out for a picnic. Bank details are at the bottom. We've got a website now in development. So we'll give you a bit more news on that. And then there'll be a website. We'll have articles up all the time, links to videos and stuff like that. Interesting stuff. And we don't hold back, and we're not politically correct. Anybody at the council would have known that last night, because that's what I was shouting about, political correctness and upsetting minority communities, which we need to, actually. We need to upset them because they're not integrating properly. I've showed you that kids aren't even learning English at school at primary school age. Kids are not learning English at school at secondary school age. I've showed you all that. Factual things. Nobody talks about it except for Big John. What we're doing, we're sending 1.3 billion plus to the Ukraine war machine while we're all starving and going to be struggling in winter. All them old people who are going to die because they haven't got no fuel to fuel the house and things like that. So I mean, I think this Christmas coming, I think within the party I might try and organise something to help some old dears. I look after my mum, and I think I might increase that and go and find out where there is other old people in houses on their own and help them out. I think that's what be a good idea to do something next Christmas, because it's going to hit us all hard with these fuel costs and all that lot. And the companies, they're not bothered; they just want the money. You know what I mean? So I think thinking ahead, maybe next Christmas, that's what I might do. That's what I might do. Go and help out a few Audis who live around the area and that in their own houses. There's some who live in secure blocks and housing association blocks. They're well looked after. They'll be heated. But there's others who live in their own houses. And I know a couple of guys who I see regular. So I think it's time that, like, next year we need to look after them, because we're going to struggle next year with this price of fuel and that. No, it shouldn't have been. White Knight, no, it shouldn't have been. I mean, like I said, his parents are British, but no, he was born in America. He's always held American green card. Boris is no loyalty. He's not going to stay. If he became prime minister, should have dropped his American passport and showed that loyalty, but he never will. You're right. I'll agree with you there. So that's me for now. Thank you for tuning in. NHPUK TV here. My name's Big John Lawrence. I'm running in local elections in Oldham, London, and Blackpool now next year. So watch out for us. We'll have a website up. We'll make sure it's well shared out and things like that. We want people to join, obviously. We do need donations and money for leaflets and all that. We've had 3 elections and we've done exceptionally well in 2 of them. Our last election, we didn't do no canvassing, didn't hand any leaflets out. We just got 1 vote. But our party has a description registered with the commission, the Electoral Commission, and it is National Housing Party, no more refugees. Nobody can shut us down. nobody can counsel us. And that's what people would have seen on the ballot paper, sort of like a statement from us to show people that this is the way we're going and we're not going to stop and we're going to shout for this. I'm sure there's other parties that might have that kind of description, but again, it was a central London ward, and we use that as a description so that that would be on the ballot paper. And the one vote didn't come from Pat McGuinness himself; must have come from someone else. So but fair enough. If we would have done a campaign, we would have got more votes, but we didn't have money to do leaflets, and it was. This election came up a month after Pat had just done an election and got 214 votes in a race with 10 people. And he was getting really good feedback off everyone who he went to. So he's going to make more ground on that. And I do believe he's got a chance, as much a chance as anyone else, as getting a council position in the next few years. But thank you very much for your time. I'll see you all on Sunday, probably about tea time, or maybe in the evening. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do on Sunday, but I'll do something, and I will put something up about you. But it's, yes, Prime Minister, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? Yes, Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.